Hey YouTube, welcome back to SIBZ, West Coast, East Coast siblings. How are you guys doing? It is 3 a.m. and we are ready to review Where the Streetlights Go On, which is still difficult for me to say. I don't know. It's like where the streetlights go out. No, just kidding. When they go on. Oh, and it's when the streetlights go on. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, guys. Let's get started. So you guys, right off the bat, I felt like these two episodes were like building up to something, but then because of the format that is Quibi, it kind of just fizzled off because it's like you're building, and then you hit something really exciting, but then it's like, oh, just kidding, this is only 10 minutes, so we're gonna cut it off here. That would be my one complaint, especially because the first 5 episodes were very much like, oh, intrigue, and then every episode ended with a big BAM! So, missing that aspect of it, that was not the case in episodes 6 and 7. However, some pretty interesting things did happen. The 3 biggest takeaways for When the Streetlights Go On, episode 6 and 7. The biggest thing that happens in episode 6 is that Casper and Becky start dating. Build up to that is, interesting, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later, but basically they're dating and Brad, Chrissy's ex on and off boyfriend, doesn't like it. Which leads us to the second biggest takeaway, which is that Brad is kind of creepy. I mean, I said this in the episodes before, but he is just a little odd, and you know that he's got something to do with something. He's got a lot more going on than what he's saying. But he starts showing violent tendencies in that he, one, takes a dodgeball and throws it in Becky's face, like pretty violently. It's like, you don't ever do that. Like, that is not okay at all. Poor Becky's nose is bleeding, and it's just really not, it's pretty awful. So he does that, but then also Brad buys a knife, and then he brings this knife to the Halloween party that they go to at the end of episode 7. So to me, Brad is just showing some really creepy things. And then, of course, probably the most obvious takeaway number 3 is that Brad and Casper get into a fight. After Brad hits Becky with the dodgeball in the face, Casper loses it. At this point, he and Becky have already been dating for a little bit, and he just doesn't have any tolerance for it. And he says, he ambushes him in the hall and says something along the lines of, "You like hitting girls? Let's see how you like it." Oh, that looked like I hit. Oh, stunned. Oh, punch myself in the face. Just kidding. Violence is not okay all the time. Anyway, yeah, so they get into a pretty big fist fight. Now, I think that's a big takeaway just because it shows how much tension is flowing between these two guys. Like, Casper never really knew Chrissy, but he really seems to love Becky. And they're like, misfits in this town. And, he's the bad boy and she's the weird girl. Now, Brad, I think, has the hots for Becky, but I don't know if it's because he genuinely likes Becky or if it's because Becky reminds him of his ex-girlfriend Chrissy, who I guess Brad didn't know was sleeping with Mr. Carpenter. Yeah, that's a huge point of contention for the two of them is Becky. Now, Brad says something really sketch when Becky tricks him to taking her to the Halloween party. He says, your lips look just like Chrissy's lips. And it's like, that is not the right thing to say if you're trying to flirt with someone. You're telling me my lips look like my dead sisters? Who does that? Yeah, so Brad's pretty sketch. And another thing that happens between Brad and Becky is that Brad confronts Becky about dating Casper, which obviously is something that he doesn't like. He goes so far as to tell Becky's parents that she's dating Casper. And then Becky's parents ground her because Casper's the wrong sort of dude. He gets her grounded. But then also he confronts her and says something along the lines of, "Oh, are you dating him?" He says something like, you may as well have killed her or something. And then Becky goes, "Did you kill her?" And then he has this weird, creepy pause. TBH, guys, I don't think Brad killed her. I think Brad is a loser and creepy and probably knows more than he's letting on. But I don't think he killed Chrissy and Mr. Carpenter. Although he has a really strong motive to have done that. But we'll see. as time goes on. Another thing that's interesting that happened at the top of episode 6 is that Charlie releases his article about Casper having been there and seen another person when Chrissy and Mr. Carpenter were murdered. Yeah, guys, I think that's all I have for episodes 6 and 7 of When the Streetlights Go On. I don't know. I'm sorry. Yeah, you guys know the routine. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think Brad is guilty? Do you think Becky knows more than she's letting on? Do you think Becky's guilty? Yeah, do you agree with the town that they're pushing for Casper to be guilty? Questions that need answers. Like this video if you like this video. Subscribe. Don't forget to click the bell so you can be notified of all of our latest content. As I said before, Christopher is covering Survive, and now the Lara Quente Ledger is covering the Liam Hemsworth show, Most Dangerous Game. Yeah, I think that's everything. Okay, bye!